Well, welcome to the video version of Got Clutter, Get Organized. And today we're going to talk about creating space in our calendars because we're always so worried about the closets, the garages, the attics. And we have Lesley Logan. I am excited. And of course, I've already read her bio, but I'm going to recap. Author, Pilates expert, podcaster, mindset, and business coach. I'm excited about our conversation. Lesley, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, Janet, thank you so much. I want someone on this show to organize my closet, but I was going to organize your calendar.
All righty. So before we get into the calendar clutter, what made you decide to really kind of help people with the mindset, specifically habits and like those really breakthroughs?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? Like our daily life is built on by a lot of habits, and that is some of them we chose and some of them happened to us just based on the routines that we have. And so I really wanted to, as a Pilates instructor, figure out one, how do I get people to be consistent with the workout that they said they wanted to do? And then even when they have that, now we have to keep the mindset part of it in there because, you can tell yourself a story and it might not be true, but you tell it enough that it feels true. And then your habits and actions reflect that story you've told yourself.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I can be the best teacher in the world and I am one of the best, but it doesn't matter if I can't get my clients' mindset and habits to reflect the goals that they have in this life. And so I went down this crazy journey of studying these things to figure out how do I help them. And then it ended up helping me along the way as well.
Mm. So, Lesley, what is the clutter that is in our calendar? I mean, because a
Yeah.
lot of times people are like, well, I don't really have clutter in my calendar, but what exactly is it?
Yeah. So, I like to think of your calendar as a jar because I think it's just easier. I'm a visual person. So like a mason jar, right? And everything you do, everything you want to do, everything that has to get done or you think has to get done has to fit in that jar. And if it doesn't, you can't, it's not happening, right? Like there's just only so much room in that jar. And so when I think about the categories of the things that are in our calendar, I've broken them up into three categories. So three piles that have to fit in this jar. One is glitter. And the thing, so what is the stuff in people's calendar? There's a whole lot of glitter in people's calendars. And even if you don't write it down, your habits, your actions, when you grab your phone in the morning, when you sit down at your desk, the things that you're doing with your emails, that's glitter. Right? Like, I like to think of anything you can do while you're standing in line at a coffee shop waiting for your coffee, or this is terrible, but it's true. Anything you can do while sitting on the toilet on your phone, that's glitter. If you can, if you can multitask it, it is glitter, right? So most people put that in their calendar first, and that's the clutter. What they're not putting in their calendar first is the rocks. And the rocks can be a couple different things, but the first rock is your sleep, y'all. Some of you have to put a timer of when you need to go to bed, when you wake up, because you're no good to anyone without sleep, period. And then we do workouts. And then if you've got kids, those go in partners, those go in next, those rocks, and then your work rocks. Well, like with the time you go to work. So that's what goes in first. But most people don't put that in first. Most people let those things happen and they say that they're a priority, but they're not in the calendar. They're like, oh, let me fit that in. Let me squeeze in this workout. Let me squeeze in my sleep. So, and then the third pile, I'll just really quickly say I call it gemstones. So this is the pile that has to go in second. So glitter, y'all, is the last thing that goes in. It's going to fill in. Don't worry. Glitter will happen. It gets everywhere. It sticks on. But gemstones, these are the things that propel your life forward or your business forward. Anything that is like, something that's like you've been wanting to work on in your life, or maybe for your business, you've been wanting to investigate, break down, work on, that actually needs its own like time blocked in. For me, mine just says gemstones in the calendar. It doesn't actually say what I'm going to do because each month those gemstones might change, but that's my time to do it. And so those are your piles. And if you put them in the wrong order, they don't fit in the jar. And again, most people do the glitter first.
Wow. I took notes. And I like the way you said that, but you're right. A lot of people, they don't make time for sleep because sometimes people laugh at me because they're like, well, I'm like by a certain time, I'm in the bed And they were like, "What? Really? That how it works?" I'm like, "Yes, because you have to put yourself on a schedule so that you can wake up in time, so you can do all those things. Like I like to do a little meditation in the morning. I like to do a little exercising in the morning. So you're right. You have to make time for those priorities. I love it. Oh my goodness, the little. So, okay. So now that we know what those things are, so how do we really structure ourselves specifically in this new year on how
Yeah.
we can like really kind of get rid of all the clutter and be more productive with our time?
Yeah. So, what I want you to do is I actually want you to come up with your dream schedule. And I want you to start with, so maybe you have to make a list of all the things you wish you had time for in the new year or that you want to prioritize. Like, make that list. And I would put, like, on the list, like, put your rocks, put your gemstones, put your glitter. And the gemstones could be like the new habits you want to perform or the new hobbies you want to try. Like, I want to take a lyric class. So, I'm going to put that in my gemstones because maybe the first thing I have to do is actually figure out where a lyric class is, right? So, like there are steps to these things, but I want you to come up with your dream schedule. And then you're going to take your existing schedule. And guess what? We are not going to snap our fingers and make it happen overnight. It's not possible. If you're single and you live alone and you work for yourself, I think maybe you could, but, but that's like that's a big maybe because there are appointments. I already have things that are booked into the Q1 of next year, right? So like I can't flip it right away, but here's what I can do. You can create this like dream schedule, basically folder or template, right? And you can color code it, whatever you want to do, and you can put it over your existing schedule. And what it will do is it will open up times that you actually want to be things that are rocks. It will close off times that should be gemstones. It'll let you see where glitter can just happen. And then you can, as each month goes on, you'll get closer and closer to the dream schedule. So I used to have like times blocked off that just said done with work, like you're done. And now I don't need that in my schedule anymore. I know what time I'm done, but I had to for a long time have that time block so I could see it, so I could end my day. So I would start with the dream, know that it's not going to happen overnight, and then put it in there as if it could happen so that you can prep your mind, prep yourself, know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but eventually people won't be able to schedule in on those times that you don't want them to schedule in on as you get further and further into that calendar.
I love that because that's one of the things I did, Leslie, because for years I kept telling myself, "Oh, I'm going to learn Spanish." I never made time for it. And then I heard somebody say, sometimes you got to make time for this stuff. And I'm like, why didn't I know that? So now it's like, and it only takes like 15 minutes a day, if that. I
Yeah.
have it blocked out, and that is what I do. And the same thing with exercising, since working from home now has almost like full time for me, and I don't get to go out as much. I make time for that. So you're right. You have to make time for all the things like your life. And I like the way you said, just kind of create a template for your dream schedule, because my dream schedule actually is on my refrigerator, where I have in there the days I'm exercising, like either I'm walking or I'm exercising,
I
my
love that.
Spanish, everything. And I love color coding too. So of course my Google Calendar is color coded, but I also use color markers because that's
Yeah.
like a physical calendar that I write on. So I love that. That is like
Yeah.
the best tip. Everyone, please.
Well, and just to go, so like some, you might be like, Leslie, I tried that didn't work. And here's what I wanted to say, like nothing is like perfect for everybody. Here's another thing that they know from my habits training. Prompts do need to be a little bit more physical and like in your normal day. So if you are like, I've had the bell go off for me to leave work and I don't leave. I've had the ding go off for me to go for my walk and I missed it, or I was at the store. So they have proven that those little like alerts will only work like for a little bit of time before they're easy to ignore, and or you're not around. So you just start practicing ignoring them. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the things that you naturally already do. And you can do this in the morning, for the afternoon, and the evening. Meals are really easy little like touch points or anchor points for this. So every morning I get up and I put my feet on the floor. And the person I studied habits with was BJ Fogg. And he said, start with just a habit of putting your feet on the floor and saying, today is going to be an amazing day, right? You already do that. I already brushed my teeth. So what is something that you want in your dream schedule or in your life that you could do after you brush your teeth? Like it's there, right? You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to do the dishes after I brush my teeth. Unless unless you live in a tiny home, you're probably not brushing your teeth near your dishes. So you have to kind of keep those things in mind and be kind to yourself. And so you make a list of the things you naturally already do. And then you see what are these things you want to add in, these gemstones you want to add into your life, and you should have put them with things you already do. So when I go to my office, I set my coffee mug down. So what is the first thing I want to do after I do that? Do I want to check my email? No, that is glitter. Was that what I do? Yes. So I want to unravel that habit. I want to make a new one of, I want to make sure I'm looking at X first, right? Like the thing for the day, the calendar for the dreams or the goals for the day. The last thing you have to do is celebrate. And for my perfectionists listening, I know my overachievers, I'm sure you're here listening to this show because you're like, what is the new thing I can do? I'm going to add that one too. You're going to hate this because it's going to feel super silly, but you're going to celebrate something so small as sitting down and like opening up the calendar first, as opposed to like your email first. But you have to celebrate this because your brain works off of dopamine. And so if you get mad at yourself, shame yourself, go, oh, here's another day. I didn't do my thing that I wanted to. I didn't work my dream schedule. I let someone in my calendar. I didn't want them in there. I promise you, your brain is not going to look for opportunities to fix that. Your brain is going to go, that stresses me out. I don't want to think about that. So I don't want to think about my dream schedule because it stresses me out. You have to celebrate even the thought that you try to do the thing. So like let's say I screw up, I set my coffee down. The first thing I do is look at my email. Instead of getting mad at myself, I can go, oh, I'm so glad I remembered I wanted to do the calendar. So then I'm going to go to the calendar. I'm going to celebrate that. And then I'm going to move on with my day. You got to be nice to yourself and kind to yourself. This is how habits are built.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. You have to keep adding things because one of the things that I added, because like Tuesday night is the night I get the trash ready because it goes out on Wednesday. So because I don't want to like spend my weekends cleaning, I just mop the floors on Tuesday nights. I'm getting the trash ready and everything. And so that's one less thing I have to do. And then that's more time I have for me on Saturday to have some fun.
Okay, I
So,
love that, Janet. That's amazing. And something you just made, we must have the same trash person because mine's on Wednesday too. And to go back to that prompt, my husband and I have this prompt that comes up on our phone every Tuesday. Take the trash out. It's there all day long. Do you know last week I didn't take the trash out? So I was like, okay, this prompt isn't working. It's coming up at the wrong time as well. So when is the best time for me to take the trash out? And it's after I walk the dogs. I'm already outside. I can just put them inside and grab the trash and take it out. Right. So like, it's like giving yourself, finding new ways and being okay with it's a work in progress. So your dream schedule for next year, it might take until Q2. You might use Q1 as the place to like really hone it in and also test if you like it. You might think you want to mop the floors on Tuesday night like Janet is, but you may realize that you want to mop them on Friday night. So they're clean for who knows, right?
That's right. And that's so true. That's so true. But it's like, yeah. And I found that I like doing the bathroom on Friday just in case I get company on Saturday. So I'm already,
Yeah,
ready.
I love this. But see, this is where like, so there's the simple version and then we get more and more advanced and we start. And what's so fun about this, y'all, is I change my ideal schedule. I review it at the end of every quarter. So I think back and I like really think about like, I'm looking like what have I found myself frustrated ever with my calendar? Is there like a day where I just like hit a wall? What is happening with that? Right. So like use your, like when you notice that there's like something going on in your day that you're just not loving, like look at that calendar. Are you having lunch with the same person every single Thursday? Like maybe we don't have lunch with them. Maybe they're negative Nancy. Like how can we move that around? So I like to use my energy and what I'm frustrated about. And I like to go, okay, how can I change that for the next quarter? And so you can reflect at the end of the quarter, you can make changes, tweak it. And at this point, I pretty much can tell like, oh, we got to change this going forward, and I can do it a lot quicker, but give yourself time.
I love it. I love it, Lesley. So how do you stay organized? Because you do so many things. You work with clients, you got the dogs, you got the husband. I know you do retreats, you do all these wonderful things, but how do you just manage, staying organized?
Yeah, this is a really great question. So first and foremost, it definitely the calendar, like I live and die by that. So there's that. And then the second thing is asking for help. Like I think we think that help is more expensive than it is. And I think we think it's for those people over there that we go, must be nice for them. And truthfully, like even if you work for another person and you've got a lot going on, it's okay to find a personal assistant for 5 hours a week, y'all. You'd be surprised with the gig economy that we have. There's like in LA, when I lived there, I don't live there anymore, but I had a girlfriend. She is like, I really want a personal assistant. I'm like, oh my God, I'd love one too. And our other friend's like, I'd love one too. The three of us paid one girl to, so like we could like, so she, cause I couldn't fill up the hours she needed, but all three of us combined could. And so we were able to do that. So the other thing you can do is, if you're like, okay, that's out of my price point, I can't do that. Here's what I want you to do. Make a list of every single thing that you think you're responsible for. And then I actually want you to look at that list and really look at it. Do you actually have to do these things? Do you? And if they have to get done, do they have to get done by you? Meaning, for me, is my face or my voice part of this? At any point, like, does it require my face showing up or my voice being there? If the answer is no, then the next question is, does it bring me joy? If it brings me joy, I'm not ready to delegate it off just yet. Doesn't mean it won't ever, but I'm going to keep it because like there's something about it that brings me some joy. If it doesn't bring me joy, then I ask myself, can it be automated, delegated, or deleted? And like, that's what we got to do. And it's really okay. Like I'm going to tell you a few things that we've hired out and people think that I'm like this super rich, must be nice person. Nope. These things are not expensive. You'd be surprised. Every Tuesday, we have a guy who comes up and picks up the dog poop. You may have heard my dogs. I've got 3 from the backyard because the landscaper comes because I wasn't getting it done. Doesn't bring me joy. And to be honest, it doesn't really need to be done by me. So there's a guy who made his whole career, his whole job is this. It cost me $15 a week for 3 dogs. That is like, ask yourself, how much do you make at your job currently? I bet you it's more than $15 and he does it every single week. Then we have the landscaper who comes, who does everything to make sure things are nice. Cause I'm not taking a leaf blower out. I'm not mowing my lawn. My husband said he was going to do it. We are 3 weeks into this house. And I was like, so how's that lawnmower going that you bought? It's not going anywhere. So this brings someone joy. And then we have someone who helps us with the housekeeping because it doesn't bring me joy. If it brings you joy, if it lights your fire, by all means. But then there's got to be other things. And you know what? It sounds like ostentatious or a little bit ridiculous, but that's how I get stuff done because I am not doing things that don't bring me joy. So it's not, do you know how long it take me to clean this house? If it was me. And so it doesn't bring me joy. It brings her joy. She gets to create her own hours. She loves it. And so I can do things like this and talk to you all. So that's how I get things done. I really did do that first thing. Does it require my face? Does it require my voice? Does it bring me joy? And then I went through the automation, delegation, deletion, and it gives you a lot more time than you think.
It does. I mean, because I have somebody who helps me in the business. And then I remember, Lesley, years ago, I decided to have a party. Well, I started stressing out because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that means I got to cook for all these people. How am I going to cook? Blah, 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 blah. And then my mentor said, cater. And at the time I was thinking, can I really afford a caterer? Well, now I know I can afford a caterer. I mean, they bring everything and people are happy and everybody's enjoying the food and I'm able to just enjoy, because I'm not in the kitchen cooking everything. So I truly understand delegation. And that's like part of simple living and also, making sure you have space in your calendar to do all the things that you want to do. Well, Lesley, I could talk to you forever.
I know. I hope this was helpful. We'll have to do another.
Yes, we will. So how can people connect with you? Like listen to your podcast, get your book, sign up, so they, you can be coaching them.
Yeah. Well, so you can listen to me wherever you listen to podcasts. That's called Be It Till You See It. And if you are somebody who's wanting to be an organized person, then the podcast can help you understand how to be that person now before you feel organized. That's what I hope. That's the whole point. Cause, I think, we all are waiting until someday something happens and then we will. And it's like, we can have it all right now. So that's what the point of the podcast is. If you want to do Pilates with me, you can go on a retreat with me to Cambodia, or you can actually just take regular classes. They're online, they're at home, so you can put them in your calendar wherever you want. We believe finishing is optional at OPC. It's onlinepilatesclasses.com. We believe finishing is optional because 5 minutes is Pilates, 10 minutes is enough, right? Like you have to give yourself permission to just do the best you can. And so you can go there and check that out. But you can follow me on Instagram at Lesley.Logan. All my links are there. And if you want to DM me, if you're looking for something like coaching and stuff like that, just let me know. I'll direct you to it.
And of course, I will have the link so you can connect directly with Lesley below this video, social media, and everywhere. Well, Lesley, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk about clearing out the clutter from my calendar and our schedules.
Yes, Jenna, thank you.